Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher. I hope you're doing well today. I'm grateful to be here, grateful to be sharing something that I figured out recently. I'm still doing the patterns for the Tangle 365 group in Facebook. And one of the things that I saw recently was that someone had done this pattern called bridges in a circle on a Zendala. Well, I was intrigued because I thought it looked great and I wanted to figure it out. And I did. And when I showed this tile on Facebook and Instagram, a couple of people asked me if I would teach how I did it. So I'm going to do it in two parts. I am going back to just the basic subscription on Zoom. So it's a challenge to keep my recordings below 40 minutes so that the timer doesn't go off. And I use Zoom just because it's the easiest way for me to do this. But anyway, I'm going to show you the first part, which is how to do this triangle pattern around the outside of it. I'm going to use just a Zendala, and I want to show you that I just got a pizza box, and I had another Zendala that I used to draw the circles, and then I'm cutting them out. I just really love the craft paper that you can get off of these pizza boxes. Now, I'm not happy with all of them, but most of them had been pretty good. What I want to end up with is something that looks like this. Let's zoom in a little bit. So I found that if I used my Marcus Operandus, then I could use these circle points, and you can get this off of the Zentangle.com website, and I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. But if you count, starting with this O, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this one has 9 points, but I thought, hey, if I could get it to look nice, then maybe I could use these points. And that's what I did on this one. And I think it came out pretty good. And what I want to say to begin with is figuring out how to do this. You can use it for a lot of different patterns. So other than bridges, I found Danzer, Golven. I think I could put Betweed in it. Possibly Canase. Well, as far as doing it in a triangle fashion. And then there's Hybrid, Remo. So lots of possibilities. That's why one of the reasons I want to do this in two parts. So this tutorial will focus on getting that. So you can use a Zendala. You could use, this is just cut out of cardboard. Like I said, you could have any color Zendala. Just, we're gonna learn how to get this pattern on there. So I'm actually going to do mine, the demo, using this Zendala that I colored with a little bit of leftover watercolors that I had. So getting this centered on the Marcus Operandus, which, okay, I think that looks pretty good, close enough. So going with these that have the O's, I'm just going to make a light line. I'm going to make it dark enough that you can see it. Just make it very light on your tile. These are just a guideline. Make sure you stay on the O's. I have goofed up a Zendala because I didn't stay on the right mark. Okay, so there we have, moved a little bit. I have 8 marks. Now I'm going to put the border around here. Now, if it's easier for you, you could use a compass. I do have a circle maker, but it's not really quite as big as I want it. One of the things I like to do, and I think I've shown this before, is to decide from the edge of the paper where I want my border to be. Okay, and then I'm going to put my tile right up against my fingernail right here. Then I'm going to put my pencil down and then just very lightly hold it as I move that Zendala against my fingernail. And I'm not looking for a perfect line. It may jump around a little bit. Again, this is still just a guide for our border. So I'm just softly holding it and turning it with my other hand as I kind of push it into my fingernail. If you don't have fingernails, you may want to use a compass. Okay, so there we have our basic outline. And I'm going to go ahead and very lightly connect these lines just because it helps me find center. Okay, ideally, these lines would cross at the center. And I'm doing this very lightly. Hopefully you can see it. Okay. It didn't go exactly across. Good enough. So now we have it divided into 8 sections. And now we want to put this center circle. Now this one I did with the circle maker, and I picked, according to this, 1 3/4. This actually, I think I put that wrong on there. I think I'll do this one, which is about, this is the 2 1/2. Okay, and I lined up my lines here, and this should center it pretty good. And then I'm going to lightly go around again with my pencil. Now we have the border. Again, like I said, you could use a compass or whatever works easiest for you, but I like it when mine line up well. So that's what I'm doing. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so where I've made these lines coming down, I'm just gonna, for reference, put a dot here, and a dot here, and then halfway between those, I'm gonna come down and put a dot there. Let's do the same thing here. I do a dot, come down, put a dot there. Okay, so where these lines come down, putting a dot, where that line came down, and put a dot again, and then just eyeball it and get center, and then just keep going around. Dot, center. And this is definitely the perfectionist in me coming out. And you don't have to do it perfectly like this. And this isn't perfect. It's not. But it makes for a nice, even border if you're trying to do triangles. And the first one that I did looked terrible, so I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so this is how we're doing our triangles. Now we get to connect the dots. And I don't have to do it in pencil first, but if you're just practicing along with me and you see that line's not perfect, that's just the way it is. It's okay. Yeah, today was the first time I tried doing it with the Marcus Operandus. And this is the best thing I came up with. And these are going to be smaller than those, but it's okay. If you wanted to, you could even divide these again, depending, you could put fragments in here if you were to divide it again. And a lot of possibilities. I guess you could call this a star string. Maybe it's already out there, but I had fun figuring it out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do something with this. And depending on what pattern you're using, you may or may not want to go over this outside border in ink, but I am going to use it. So I am using black micron PN. And mostly that's because my other pens aren't doing well. I need to get into my stash and find some good ones. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do these next. Trying to keep my hand out of the way. In my first YouTube videos, I really struggled because I do use my iPhone camera and it becomes part of my Zoom meeting. And when I'm using it that way as a camera, it doesn't let me set the focus. But anyway, okay, so there's the star. So that's a way that you could get a star pattern that I am going to connect the border. All right, you could even add a pattern out here. All right, so at this point, I would probably, erase my lines. So I have my kneaded eraser. And I'm not showing how to do the bridges pattern. Do that another day, or another video rather. All right. Trying to think something easy to put in here. Let me show you how I would do well. So I would go to the center and put an O, and then I do like a 9 down to that corner, down to this one. Just to show you how easy it is to fill these with a simple pattern. I really like drawing well. Like I said, you can do it in a triangle. You could do well in almost any shape, any area that you've got. And this Zendala, where I added the watercolor, almost has a sunset effect. The colors are a little bit different in person than they are in the video. All right, last one, and that's all I'm going to do on this. So like I said, the main focus of this was to show how to prepare your tile. And if you join me on part 2, I'll show you how to do this tile. And in the center is the pattern called Braven's Sword or Braven's Word. I'm not sure how they're pronouncing it. And again, the first one is Bridges, Randy Ziegler, and this one by Debbie New will be in the next video, but on this. All right. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your comments and your support. And I will see you next time. Bye.